Dear Danny Boyle, your shallow grave is goddamn terrifying. But not really for the reason you would think. Yeah, the sheer lack of humanity in the end fight scene there was pretty gruesome. Not even gonna lie. But it's really the use of mise-en-scène that really punctuates the scene. Mise-en-scène is a French term for pretty much placing things on stage, which is basically everything on stage, of course, including the camera, lights, dressing, furniture, but that's pretty simple. What also kind of helps it is the film's score, but that's not really part of mise-en-scène. But it can create some weird effects, and I mean freaking weird effects in a movie. For instance, the last scene, which we will be thoroughly analyzing, received some really weird dynamic shifting in the power and the dominance department. The first shot of the scene has us looking at the loft where David, played by Christopher Eccleston, had previously been hiding from his other flatmates. And then the camera jumps to him and his girlfriend Juliet, played by Carrie Fox, in her bed. David is then waking up and getting dressed. And now we cut to Alex, who's waking up from his bed and going to call the private investigators on the telephone. And meanwhile, while all of this is happening, you can hear the sound of a clock ticking down, which kind of represents the complete mayhem that is going to occur within like the next couple minutes. So yeah, I'd buckle up. Earlier, the investigators had asked Alex to call him if anything weird is going down. And now Alex is like, yeah, I'm going to call these guys, because David is going to freaking kill me. David, he grabs the suitcase full of money from earlier that he put inside of the water container in the loft. The way the audio is done from inside the water is done very cleverly, because of the way your ears perceive sound when inside of water. It gets very muffled, and it creates a very weird aesthetic. Now as David is trying to leave, we see Juliet's shadow appear from behind David, but we don't actually see Juliet talking. And this kind of represents how Juliet murders David, essentially, later on.
So let's go.
You and me.
And all while David and Juliet are getting ready to leave, we can hear Alex on the phone. And as he's trying to call the police, they don't pick up, but the answering machine plays. And now David realizes that Alex is trying to call somebody. He does not know who, though. And so he calls out, asking who he's calling at this time of night. And already the power dynamics in the situation are freaking awesome. Because as you can see, David is all upright and standing proper, while Alex is kind of like curled up in a ball.
Sex lines, is that it? Triple X-rated interactive fantasies, old habits die hard.
I was phoning your mother.
you old devil. Well, anyway, as you can see, we're leaving.
So I gathered.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is.
Don't worry about it. I'll forward your mail.
No, really. I am sorry. Sorry to be ducking out on you like this. I mean, I hope you won't take it personally.
No. Don't let it worry you, not at all. It's probably for the best.
Oh, for the best. Exactly. Hey, I wouldn't want things staying on a downer.
Not at all.
I mean, with ups and downs, right? Good times, bad times.
Yeah.
We could talk all night, but we have to go. Don't we, Juliet?
Yes.
And you need your sleep.
Yes.
No, can't think of anything else that matters.
About your mail.
Ah, very good of you to offer, but
Where do you think you'll go?
where will we go? Where will we go? Juliet.
I don't know.
Oh, don't be so coy, dear. You're going to Rio.
Right now, they are kind of acting buddy-buddy. They're not really angry at each other.
De Niro, on your own.
Until David throws down the ticket that he found in Juliet's room.
Did you see that? Did she show you that? I'll bet she didn't show you that before she sent you up there. What did she say? We'll split it together, you and me, 50-50. But I'll bet you didn't say you'd split on him.
It wasn't like that.
Don't lie to me! Don't treat me like that!
I bought it. What? I bought the tickets, one for her and one for me. It was my idea.
Your idea, I see. Well, that fits. I mean, you and him fit together. I should have seen that a long time ago.
Alex, stop him!
No, let him go. Let him have it all.
And now the tension
Juliet,
is
let him
growing.
go.
Alex and Juliet are now on the same side, applying pressure on David.
I'm leaving.
David is kind of in the less dominant situation at the moment. Until this happens. I could hear that sound so good with headphones on. The punch of that sound made my eardrums rattle. The sound design is done freaking awesome. And now Alex jumps on his back. David has Alex on his back, and Juliet grabs the case full of money and drags it into the dark kitchen. David manages to shake Alex off and turns after Juliet into the kitchen, and then Alex chases after David. Be warned, if you were kind of squeamish, look away from these next few parts. David kicks Alex in his injured shins from before. As David is turning around to confront Juliet, she grabs a freaking toaster and just claps David with it. The sound of the toaster hitting his face is done so good. Like, I don't even know if it could be done better. It's just freaking great. And now Alex gets up off the floor and slams him onto the table. Now David is in the less dominant situation as Juliet and Alex are applying pressure on him. And then Juliet proceeds to bite David's freaking arm. Why is the sound so good of biting into flesh? And now the sound design of Alex slamming David's head into the fridge. Oh, the bass in the sound of that is so good. I couldn't imagine any other sound being used in this situation. And as David is coming out of the fridge, his glasses get caught up in the fridge, kind of foreshadowing his future in the morgue. And now you can see the rage building in the monster's eyes with his glasses off. You got a better view into the window of his soul, and you can see the pure rage coming out of his eyes. Now we cut to David on top of Alex. David still has the dominance in this situation. And as he reaches for a knife, we see a top-down view of two knives. We have no idea where this is going. The first knife is plunged right into Alex's shoulder, and the sound of that still makes me gag. I couldn't barely watch this with good headphones on. And David reaches for the second knife and raises it up above his head, and just as he's about to come down, a knife is plunged through his throat. Oh, that sounded disgusting. Yet not ever gonna watch that again. And now David is dead. Pretty good for them. So they don't have to worry about David anymore. Now the problem is Juliet. As Juliet reaches down to see if Alex is okay, she starts tweaking the knife to see if it hit an artery. And the bony sound of the clicking of the knife in his shoulder still makes me want to gag. It is awful, but great at the same time. I have no idea how to describe it. And now for the best part of the scene.
You did the right thing.
Juliet takes the money and leaves the house with it.
With me.
And now Alex and David are on the floor. Juliet thinks she's going to escape to Jamaica, where she bought the tickets for.